Rachel Zegler breaks down as no one shows up for her London play. Rachel Zegler just hit a new low, and this time, it's not a meme or a Twitter roast. It's real, it's live, and it happened in front of a nearly empty theatre in London. After the Snow White fiasco, Rachel was banking on her stage debut in Evita to be her big comeback. But spoiler alert, it's flopping harder than her last movie. Despite starring in one of the most iconic musicals of all time, ticket sales are tanking, and she knows it. You can literally feel the panic in her press interviews. And it's more than just nerves. It's regret. Because no matter how much time passes, her controversial woke comments about Snow White still haunt her like a curse. In case you missed it, Rachel is currently playing Eva Peron in the West End revival of Evita at the legendary London Palladium. This is a huge deal. We're talking about a 2,286-seat venue, with names like Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice behind it. But despite all that star power, entire sections of the theatre are going unsold. According to early booking data, over 70% of the seats are sitting empty. Some tickets are being sold for as little as €29.50, which is shockingly low for a production of this scale, and still, no one's turning up. Even the premium seats are gathering dust. Meanwhile, over on Ticker, public opinion seems split in the weirdest way. A clip from the recent Met Gala shows Rachel being flooded with praise in the comments, while Gal Gadot, who hasn't even done anything controversial, is getting dragged.
Media did try to paint her out as the reason why Snow White flopped because of her expressing her political views, even though her co-star, who I shall not name, also had shared her political views. She still got invited to the Met Gala, but she will not be attending.
And yet, somehow, Rachel's the one standing in front of a theatre no one wants to enter. It's like the internet has flipped upside down. So, I decided to check for myself. I went straight to the booking site for her show. And sure enough, there it was, rows and rows of empty seats available for every night in June, July, and August. It's like people have either completely forgotten she's performing, or worse, they haven't, and just don't want to support her anymore. At this point, it's not even about Snow White. It's about Rachel. Her comments still sting, calling the prince a stalker, trashing the original story, and turning what could have been a beloved reboot into a full-blown lecture. The public hasn't let it go, and judging by those ticket sales, they are not ready to forgive her either.
Don't need no man. She's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
I don't think Disney anticipated that it really has a deep and strong emotional place in their childhoods and throughout their lives, and maybe that film from 1937 did not need to be reimagined.
Let's not forget, Snow White made over $200 million at the box office, and it still counts as a flop. Why? Because between production, marketing, and reshoots, Disney reportedly poured nearly $600 million into it. The loss was so brutal, they quietly shelved their planned Tangled remake, which, according to rumors, was set to be even more modernized and politically charged.
Rapunzel is officially happening, and Florence Pugh will allegedly play Rapunzel. And while she seems like the perfect choice for the role because of how much they look alike, people in the comments had a lot to say. From some saying that the movie's ruined already, to others saying scrap it altogether, to most people complaining that Florence is too old to play the role and Rapunzel's supposed to be 18. Which in my opinion is a ridiculous statement because Florence is in her 20s and she could easily pass for Rapunzel.
Here's the hard truth. This isn't just a theatre flop, it's a symptom of something much bigger. Rachel Zegler is turning into one of Hollywood's biggest cautionary tales. Studios pushed her fast. After just one major role in West Side Story, they tried to crown her the next face of Disney. But the audience never bought in. And now, with Snow White tanked and her theatre seats collecting dust, the message couldn't be clearer. Fans want authenticity, not attitude. And here's the thing, theatre doesn't lie. You can't edit the crowd. You can't filter the turnout. If no one buys a ticket, you're up there performing for empty chairs. It's honestly wild. The same industry that can sell out Hamilton in seconds can't even fill half the seats for Evita starring Rachel Zegler. And this isn't a bad week or slow start. This is a pattern. The London Palladium has 2,286 seats. And night after night, regardless of the ticket price, fans just aren't showing up.
It's like you're one of the only ones there, just like Rachel Zegler, as it turns out, and we part with this video of Rachel Zegler alone in a theater watching herself. One of the most unlikable humans
That
ever.
is sadder than when the original Snow White eats.
And here's the kicker. Reports claimed the show had already racked up $4 million in ticket sales before Rachel Zegler was even announced. But if that's true, Why are entire rows still sitting empty? Fans are starting to question it. Reddit threads are already speculating whether that $4 million figure was just PR spin, a fake hype tactic to boost sales and create the illusion of demand. The timeline doesn't add up. If so many tickets were sold up front, how is it still this easy to grab front row seats? Here's the brutal reality. In film, marketing can fake success. In theater, you either have a crowd or you don't. Rachel can't pull the usual Hollywood move, showing up to a premiere, sitting among fans, pretending everything's fine. This is a live performance. She's on stage. And when 200 seats are empty in front of you, that's the kind of humiliation no PR machine can spin away. What's even crazier? Studios are still pushing her. Hard. Relentlessly. At this point, it doesn't feel like confidence, it feels like delusion. Like if they just keep putting Rachel on enough stages, enough screens, and enough red carpets, the audience will magically start loving her. But that's not how this works. And she's not the first. Hollywood has a long history of trying to force the next big star before the audience is ready, or worse, when they never asked for one at all. Remember Sam Worthington? Jay Courtney? Big budgets, big roles, and no one cared. You can't manufacture charisma. You can't demand loyalty. You have to earn it. And Rachel's timing couldn't have been worse. Her theater run launched right on the heels of the Snow White backlash, meaning her reputation was already hanging by a thread. It's like stepping onto a tightrope with your shoelaces undone. Sure, some point to her Broadway performance in Romeo and Juliet, which reportedly brought in $7 million. But that was before she became the face of modern Hollywood controversy. Back then, audiences saw potential. Now, when fans see her name on a marquee, they don't think, wow, star power. They think, oh great, another Disney lecture in disguise. And the sad part, Rachel might actually be talented. But this isn't just about talent anymore. It's about timing. It's about attitude. And whether the public even wants to listen at this point. Live theater gives you no safety net. If no one claps, if no one shows up, you feel it. Every single night. Now let's be clear, this isn't about cancel culture or labeling Rachel Zegler as a bad person. But we also can't ignore that her public image has been shaped less by her performances, and more by her own interviews. The energy she puts out, condescending, dismissive, overly political, keeps pushing audiences away. A fan on Taika recently shared her experience meeting Rachel in person. And let's just say, it didn't help her case. The vibe, cold, distant, nothing like what fans were hoping for.
These houses. Amelia Solana, Amado. So I actually met Rachel Zegler in New York after her Broadway show performing Romeo and Juliet, and let me just say I have a couple opinions on her after meeting her in person. First, I will say I completely understand how people took what she said about Snow White and how she promoted that and just took it negatively, because I did too. Like, I genuinely did not like the way that she was talking about her character and stuff, but I have to say that in person, oh my god, she is so sweet, and not only that, she is ridiculously talented. Like, in that show, her singing actually blew me away. I've never heard anyone sing that well in person. I can't explain it. It was just amazing. I know there are some clips on TikTok where people secretly record the show. I highly recommend you guys go watch that, because her riffs were insane, and she only had like one singing part, but that was my favorite part of the entire show. She is genuinely really talented and a nice person. I just think that the way that she talks and the way that she presents herself to the camera does not always bode well with people, but that doesn't make her a bad person. So yeah, that's my unpopular opinion.
And yet somehow, major media outlets still frame Rachel Zegler as a rising star. Golden Globe winner. Hollywood's new sweetheart. But let's be real, this feels like old school PR trying to polish a result that's already 6 feet deep. Her last big project, the Hunger Games prequel, was decent, but not because of her. That franchise could run on fumes and still pull an audience. It was Hunger Games that sold the tickets, not Rachel Zegler. Meanwhile, Hollywood keeps backing her like they made a bet they can't afford to lose. Because if they admit she was miscast in Snow White, or that audiences just aren't connecting with her, it's not just Rachel's career on the line. It's the reputations of the execs who pushed her. Even Steven Spielberg, who reportedly recommended Rachel for Snow White in the first place, has stayed noticeably quiet since the disaster. almost like he's hoping the whole thing just fades away without further damage.
More to do with Gal Gadot calling out Rachel Zegler and putting her in the hot seat, as well as Disney when bringing up the production issues for Snow White. Now, Gal delivered the following: the most important thing when you are working on a film is teamwork, and when you have characters like the Evil Queen and Snow White, you expect teamwork to play a role in the creative process when you are trying to put something special together. We didn't really have teamwork, and there were many setbacks that we had to deal with during this entire process, and I just found that to be very exhausting. When you are acting, you expect your co-stars and the creatives to go all the way and to support each other, and we just didn't meet those expectations.
There's even talk that Gal Gadot, who co-starred in Snow White, was left frustrated, not just by the backlash, but by what was happening behind the scenes. According to new reports, she's been privately venting about the lack of professionalism on set. She hasn't dropped any names, but let's be honest, who else could she mean? And that is the bigger problem. Rachel Zegler might have the voice. She might have the look. But what she seems to lack is the one thing that matters most in Hollywood: connection. This industry isn't just about talent, it's about trust. It's about respecting your audience. And when you mock the classics, slam fan favorites, and dismiss beloved stories as weird, fans remember. They don't forget, and they don't forgive easily. That's why, even though the talent may be there, Rachel's stardom feels forced. Not organic, not earned. And the saddest part, she's not the only one caught in the fallout. Every actor, every crew member, every creative who worked on Snow White, they are all now carrying the weight of a film labeled a disaster. And much of that perception, it comes down to one person's attitude. That's why the studios are shifting. Not with a loud cancellation, but with silence. Rachel isn't being dropped, she's being ghosted. Quietly pulled from major roles. One day, you're headlining a Disney reboot. The next, you're nowhere to be seen. Rachel Zegler might still pop up at award shows or in the press circuit. But make no mistake, the star-making machine is hitting the brakes. Hard. So what's the real takeaway here? Rachel Zegler's career isn't over, but it's clearly on pause. And not because of a lack of talent, not because of one bad movie, but because she broke the golden rule every actor, influencer, and public figure needs to remember. The audience decides who wins. Not the headlines, not the casting directors, the fans. Hollywood tried to fast-track her to superstardom, handed her awards, big roles, glowing coverage. But they skipped the part where she had to actually connect, to earn it. And now, we're watching the fallout in real time, on stage, in empty seats, and across comment sections around the world. And honestly, we hope Rachel learns from this. Because no one wants to see real talent go to waste. But if she doesn't, someone else will. Someone who gets it, who embraces the fans, respects the work, and lets the story, not the politics, shine first. What do you think? Was Rachel unfairly targeted? Or is this just Hollywood trying too hard to force a star? Drop your thoughts in the comments, we're reading every single one. And if you want more deep dives like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button. See you next time.